Fragments of Silicon is extremely unlikely to change its name to a single letter anytime in the future.
All right, welcome to another installment of Fragments of Silicon. I'm your host, as always, Adam. Joining me, as always, are Galax and Pettyfan. And, right, let us get to the news, such as it is. Petty, why don't you go first?
Well, if you were wondering why we didn't do reviews on Sunday, it's because my modem slash router, I have a combo unit, decided it didn't want to do decent uploads anymore, and I was getting less than 1 megabyte per second or 1 megabit per second, and I need at least 5 to 7 to actually do the stream.
Mm.
So that was a nice run to Best Buy Monday morning. Luckily, we have a protection plan, so it was just a fairly easy swap. I ended up paying like $60 more to just upgrade to a new model that has Wi-Fi 6. So theoretically, we could get better coverage even if we're over like in the garage or whatever. Though I think unfortunately there around where I've been sleeping at downstairs on the hide-a-bed seems to be a dead zone, so I may need to do some power configuring to get that sorted out. But we also have unlimited data, so if my phone's not connected to Wi-Fi while I'm asleep, I'm not too brokenhearted over it. But yeah, I know how to sort it out. I just need some time where I can actually keep running to and from the modem and router to unplug it so it can reboot. So it's not hard, just kind of physically demanding when you can't really move very well. I guess onward to the physical stuff. I start therapy next week. Yay!
Physical therapy.
Yes, physical therapy. So, no idea what they're going to do to me this time. Because
If they start talking about installing your joints backwards, you've accidentally found a robotics club.
I mean, if they make them work better, rock on. Lately, because of the heat and humidity, everything's been stiff, and I've been debating sawing my legs off. Adam probably knows that mood all too well.
I have some experience with aches and pains and humidity.
Yeah. Apparently, today the heat index was 110. So real glad we got that air conditioner sorted out last year. Though getting it back on the Wi-Fi was not fun. Because apparently it required finding the remote for it that we put in storage because we didn't need it because it was on Wi-Fi.
I still think having your air conditioner connected to Wi-Fi is just begging to have your family attacked by Freezeman exit in like a few years.
I mean, if I ever felt it's a problem, it's a removable dongle. I can just literally pop the cover off and yank the dongle out, and I'll never get on Wi-Fi again. So there is that.
Fair enough.
Oh yeah, also I did get a new Xbox controller because Sunday afternoon when we were done, I found my old Xbox controller as I tripped on it and broke the joystick. So that was fun. At least it was on sale for $20 at Best Buy, and I was already there anyway. So
What version of Xbox?
I think it Xbox One or Series. I can't remember. They're both so physically identical. It's not even funny.
Yeah, the key signifier is in the D-pad.
Yeah.
The Xbox Series X has this weird ridged D-pad thing.
Yeah, this one's the cross D-pad.
Yeah, that's the Xbox One.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I'm fine with it as long as Game Pass recognizes it as an Xbox controller. I don't really care, you know?
Yeah. I got several Xbox controllers lying around from all the way back to the 360.
Once controllers stopped being wireless, they really stopped, to a large extent, needing to be limited to their particular console.
I mean, fair enough, though. Funnily, this controller I have is wired because why the fuck do I need a wireless controller sitting at my computer?
Fair. Mine also. I think mine is technically wireless, but I only use it wired.
Yeah.
Tired of using wireless controllers?
Bluetooth.
What was that, Adam?
I got tired of using wireless controllers with my computer.
Well, also, I basically am operating in a Faraday cage, so trying to deal with wireless stuff is just a pain in the ass, so wire it up for me, baby.
How do you have a Faraday cage?
My loft bed. It's metal. Also, the springs on the mattress, so it's not technically a Faraday cage, but it might as well be for the sake of low-power wireless devices. But yeah, I did hear back on the possible infection on my surgical site on my back, and it was just skin flora, so no worry about them needing to take a hunk of flesh out of my back.
Skin what?
Flora, like skin bacteria.
Okay.
So either they didn't use enough surgical scrub when they were cutting into me, or it was like just sweat or something caused a reaction when I was having that reaction to them giving me more medication than they should have. And I was sweating a lot because overdoses aren't fun. And yeah, I think that's it on my end.
Okay. Well, Galax, it's your go.
Well, I finally got around to installing my air conditioner, and we had lobster tonight, so it's definitely getting to be actual summer.
So since you're in Maine, do you catch your own lobster, or do you still just go buy it at the corner store?
Buy it at the grocery store, but it's actually good is the difference.
I know. I've been to Boston, actually. Yeah, the lobster ain't bad over there.
Yeah. Generally, the thing with lobster, the dirty secret of lobster is the more you're paying for it, the worse it is.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yes.
Anyway. So yeah, that happened. I'm taking a little bit of time off tomorrow because I located a computer repair place in the area that had pretty good reviews. So I'm going to take my hard drive that stopped working over there and see if they can fix that. And if they can fix that, I may ask them to look at my PC at some point.
Figure out why the hell it thinks it's a laptop.
If that's even the problem, that's maybe just like part of the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, usually it should have resolved itself when you removed your UPS, so You may have hit
Yeah.
something setting up
Well,
Windows,
it's inconsistent too. It
yeah.
doesn't always say it's It doesn't always say it's that either. So,
Yeah.
like in some places, it says like the role is currently listed as desktop. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's
I forget
odd.
where I even found that. But yeah, it's being dumb, and I'd like to get it fixed if this place seems reliable.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, I'm not close enough to
Um,
take care of it for you.
Yeah, I was gonna say no offense to Petty Fan or to my other internet friends that know stuff about computers, but
Yeah, I can tell this is one of those issues
I'm not
need to
bringing my
be.
computer to Missouri or the fucking
Yeah.
Pacific Northwest to try to get someone to look at it.
Yeah, this is one of those issues I'd need to be there to fix it, because trying to walk you through over the phone would just frustrate both of us.
Mm-hmm.
Believe me, I've been there.
Video game wise, getting near the end of Tears of the Kingdom. Been doing some more breeding in Pokemon Scarlet because I'm trying to get a perfect specimen of Galarian Slowpoke, or making a Galarian Slowking out of, and or possibly Slowbro.
Gonna try and make it shiny too, or do you just want perfect stats?
I'm not even insane at that. I'm not even trying for shiny. I just want to get 0 attack, 0 speed, everything else maxed, or even 0 speed, low attack.
Okay. I know there are some
Everything.
people who are crazy enough to go for the full kit and caboodle.
Well, at this point, it feels like I might get a shiny before I get the thing I'm looking for, and the only time that's happened before was when I was trying to breed for a female 5IV Zoroark, or Zorua.
Do you have the shiny charm yet, or are you still missing a few Pokemon?
I forget how you get the shiny. I forget who you
complete
talk
the
to
dex.
for the shiny charm.
Your homeroom.
Yeah.
Feature.
I think I do.
Yeah, it's one of the school quests.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, going pretty. It's just been a little bit frustrating because it takes a long time to, and I keep getting almost the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Me over here trying to breed a decent Scyther to make into a Scizor, and I'm like, God damn it! Why do you still keep getting special?
At least Scyther doesn't want any zeros. It's
Yeah.
easier to get a 6 IV Ditto than it is to get a 0 IV in attack Ditto.
That is valid.
Anyway, that's about what I'm up to video game wise. I played a little bit of Splatoon 3 and need to do more of that also, because apparently there's a patch for that today for some balance stuff too, so
Fun.
maybe I'll try some of that a little bit later. But I think that's about what I got.
All right. Well, that means it's my go. Let me see. Did mention that I got my new phone last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's been working just fine.
As a new phone should.
Yes. I didn't have to go through any additional hassle there, but I bring this up because my mother's phone has been having issues, and she has had to order a new one herself and has been bugging me to set it up. I'm going to be heading over to her place tomorrow to do that.
Ugh. As someone who has to live with an adult in their house who seems to have selective computer illiteracy, I feel your pain.
Yes, I'm dealing with that level of computer literacy.
Just read the screen. It'll ask you what you want, and you just put in the correct thing.
Yeah, it's you see the big icon in the middle of the web page.
These phones are literally designed to almost be set up by children. Read.
But
I digress.
Yes. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to that.
I would not.
I can't say that enough. because anyway, on the other electronics front, we just had the first. I'm not sure if it was a brownout or a blackout the other day.
Oof.
Like, was nothing a hastily scheduled trip to Firehose Subs didn't cure, as I was not going to sit around in that fucking heat.
Valid. And at least with a laptop, you're mostly going to be fine unless you actually have a full-on surge and it pops your battery.
Well, so about that,
Oh no.
like, it looks like we did have a full-on surge.
Ooh.
Because no, my laptop is fine. Like,
As we can tell.
Yeah, my laptop would be fine, even though it's plugged into the wall. That'd be more of a battery issue, I think.
Yeah.
But no, the internet equipment got hit.
Ooh.
Which is a bit weird because I gotta, all that's hooked up to a surge protector. So
How old is a surge protector?
Good question. Not exactly sure.
If you can't remember how old it is, definitely time to replace.
I'm sure I'll get around to it at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think you're supposed to replace them every 5 or 10 years, depending on what you're using it for.
I'm I don't recall at this time, but the upthrust here was both the modem and the Wi-Fi modem. I have two separate.
Modem and router.
Yeah. My Wi-Fi router is mine, and the modem is the cable company's.
Ooh.
The upside to that is if the cable modem gets fried, they can replace it free of charge.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if the Wi-Fi modem gets fried, I have to replace that, and that's about $100.
Yeah, kind of like why going to Best Buy, I can get the Geek Squad protection, and they'll protect it for 4 years, and then just bring it in, say something's wrong, and get a new one. Just pay for the new GSP. Just something to think about. Wink, wink.
Right, but this thing is quite old itself. I think I got it in 2011. And it still works. Both devices just were kind of out for a few hours after the power came back on. I'm not exactly sure what was going on there.
It may have been something wrong with the cable company's stuff. It may not have been your equipment problem.
Well,
if it was your equipment, it wouldn't have come back on.
Yeah, that's the thing that was vexing me. They did say that they were going through their own outage, which was probably what it was because fried equipment don't have a habit of coming back.
I mean, you can make it come back, but that involves a soldering iron and knowing what the fuck you're doing.
I mean, that's a bit beyond what I've got because I don't have a soldering iron.
Yeah.
So, the point is, everything's back to working as normal.
As you can tell by he's on the podcast.
Yes. Well, worst comes to worst, I use my phone. That's happened in the past.
Indeed.
Anyway, in terms of video games, I finished up Katamari Damacy Reroll.
You're going to get the We Heart Katamari?
I think it's to $20, $30 right now, so I moved on to Shantae Half Genie Hero.
Yeah.
Ultimate.
I would not be shocked if Katamari goes on sale for the either fall or winter sale this year.
Yeah. I'm like,
In which case,
that's
go grab it, everybody, because Katamari's great. Everyone should play it.
I'm like, and these are the real Katamari games.
Yeah, these are the good Katamari games.
Well, they're the ones that were done by the guy who made Katamari.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and he didn't even like want to do We Love Katamari, but I think it was like not necessarily cajoled into it, but he wanted to do like a fan fest thing.
Yeah.
Because
and he sure as fuck didn't want the DLC shit show that was Beautiful Katamari. Because, ooh.
Never played that one, so... Like,
that was the one that Bandai Namco got in hot water because all the DLC was on disc.
Right. I do remember that.
Yeah.
Like, I know of the game, I just never played it. Like, me and my Katamari had its moments, but because that was a PSP game, it's kind of hampered by the fact that you only had that analog nub.
Mm-hmm.
Not ideal for a Katamari game.
Yeah, and they could have made it work,
considering
but they
it's
didn't.
A dual analog control scheme. Yeah.
Like, so. Anyway, I think that's about it for my news for the week. So, merrily we shall be rolling along to the interview portion of the broadcast. And joining us this week is Tim Bonderud of Pearl Creek Gaming.
Hey, guys.
Hello. How are you doing tonight?
Doing good, yeah. You guys are doing good, too, I hear.
Yeah. Well enough, week. I think. Anyway, so how we like to get started is we like to get to know the people behind the game, behind the studio, and all that. And we do that first by asking this particular question. What got you interested in video games, both on a personal and a professional level?
Well, I grew up on the Atari 2600 and moved to the Commodore 64. And then it began. So it's been a long road of seeing the gaming start from the very beginning, which is where this game was really inspired from. And basically, I grew up in a small town in northern British Columbia, up in Canada, and we hunted and trapped and stuff like that, made our living like that. And my grandparents were a big part of that. And just recently, in the last couple of years, I came up with the idea to make a little 2D platformer based on those times of growing up and hunting and trapping on the creek banks, and in honor of my grandparents, which I thought was really cool. And and so it began.
Indeed. Like, it's a fairly typical story that we get on this program in some ways. Got to admit, the thing that stands out is the whole nature aspect. I don't have too many people who did that as a child, apparently.
Yeah, it was just, I guess, more or less. I mean, there's obviously the video games nowadays with virtual reality hitting the markets and all this stuff. I just wanted to go back to the basics. Something basic, a lot of people can play. I mean, kids seem to really love this little game. It's, I've got a lot of different things in there. I mean, a lot of animals that you run across when you're out hunting the creek banks and stuff like that, and just added a little bit of extra aspects to the game. There is a major, quite a little bit of a major update coming here in the next few days to the game. So what you're seeing right now on the screen is the last update, which is which I did quite a few different things, but the newest update has got quite a few more special effects and a whole bunch of other little things that are going to help. I've taken a lot of customer feedback over the last few months, and people I find and you guys must find this too, nobody reads instructions.
I'm one of the
the
weirdos
instructions
that
aren't
does, but I
long.
frequently find other people not doing it when that would solve their problem very quickly.
Yeah, and I mean, growing up with the Commodore and all them, I mean, I would read what they scrolled on the screen when you're about to play the game. You needed to know the controls and what buttons to hit on the keyboard. So I'm pretty used to that myself. But 95% of the people are not reading instructions, and we're talking everybody from kids that are as that can read at 8 years old, all the way up to adults that are that I would think that it would be smart maybe to read the instructions and see what you're supposed to do. But I've got one guy shocked me the other day because he does networking, does people's networking for a living. He's very smart with that, and I mean, we all of us know a lot of networking stuff and computers and everything. But you would think he would just click on the instructions, but he had absolutely no idea that he was supposed to collect the dynamite in those boxes. I thought that was pretty simple, but my latest update, anyways, is going to have a little on-screen, first level on-screen prompting. So when you start the game, it'll, halfway through the first level, it's just going to feed you some on-screen text and help people along the way, because they're just not going to go read those instructions. Just simple as that.
I am less than surprised by this because this is the reason why tutorials became a thing. It's like, especially forced tutorials. People wouldn't
Absolutely
read the words that were printed in the booklet and would get stuck, so they just jammed it into the game.
Or they just buy the game used and they didn't keep the manual.
Right, or they rented it. Back.
Because I remember back in the day, Blockbuster would get in a lot of hot water for including scanned manuals.
Well, yeah, they got sued over that. And they lost that one. That's why they could only have the original manual, and then there was the instructions on the back of the box.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure that hasn't extended to GameFly. I mean, GameFly is still a thing that exists.
Yeah, I actually still use GameFly, and no, you don't get a manual unless you actually buy the game.
Not a surprise. And that's assuming that a game comes with a manual these days.
Valid.
So, yeah. Once again, ultimate point here, not surprised that people need an actual tutorial, because this game controls a lot differently than a lot of platform games people might be used to.
Well, and you're probably talking about using a controller. Is that correct?
Yep. Even a keyboard, because I did play a bit of this. I didn't really have time to get into it, but this is a game that requires both the keyboard and the mouse, which is a very unusual setup for a platformer.
Well, I don't know. I wish I could say where I got that from. I think I got that from in my Serious Sam days. You remember that game?
I do.
I'm pretty sure it was controlled with keyboard and mouse. Is that something? Yeah, am I correct or?
Yeah. Keyboard and mouse. That's standard FPS stuff. I'm just saying that this for a 2D platformer is unusual, not unprecedented, but and I can see why it's that way, because the mouse is tied into the shooting reticule, so you're using that for accurate aiming, which would be a lot less accurate with a analog stick.
Yeah, and that's the problem I was having. I do have the game is coded for a stick, but it's not activated, because I was having issues with that to try and get it accurate as the mouse can be for your aiming. So I just decided to disable it. I know it could definitely lose me some of the people out there that love their pads, but for somebody that's playing it on the computer, I would like to think they'd get used to it pretty easily with the mouse and keyboard. Plus, it just gives them that kind of a old school feel again, and a little bit of a change up from their gamepads. But I mean, obviously, there's going to be people that don't like that.
For me, it's less hates gamepad or loves gamepads and more just can't get the hang of doing gaming with a keyboard.
Yeah.
Like, for me, it depends on the game. Like this one, I found a tad awkward because I'm left-handed. Like, and doing WASD and mouse is very awkward at the best of times. So
yeah, so it could be. I mean, that can be an eventual update for sure. I mean, it's nothing. It's already in the programming. It just the biggest problem I was having is trying to use the second stick on your gamepad to do the aiming, and it's so sensitive. Like it's really
yeah.
I don't know too many games that would be like that for controls, but you know, this being a computer game is one thing, but my biggest downloads, of course, right now are mobile.
Like so this game is also on mobile then.
Yes, it is. Yeah. So I mean, it's of course I've got the on-screen controls and stuff like that. So it's a different experience because now you're not really aiming. You're just pressing the screen to shoot. So wherever you press the screen to shoot is where the crosshairs go.
It still sounds more intuitive than dual sticks.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure.
And you know that might be the, you know, I mean, I usually ask this a bit later, but since we're talking about it right now, have you given any consideration to bringing this game to consoles?
Well, I had someone contact me and ask me if they would really want the game, and they wondered if it was available for the Switch. And I thought, yeah, I mean, it's not a problem for me to do that. I mean, with my gaming, I use Game Maker to design the games, and when I do that, it's pretty simple to just switch formats because I mean, it's on Google Play, it's on obviously on Steam. I put it up on itch.io too for anybody that doesn't have a Steam account, and then it's on the App Store for Apple. But it really is just it's like the press of a button. So it's like 2 minutes and it's converted to the Switch format, which is super cool.
Indeed.
Are you guys building games as well?
No. We're the press side of things.
For sure.
Like like we've heard enough.
Playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, playing and reviewing.
We've heard enough stories about game design to know that you don't want to do that.
No, you know, I mean, as simple as this game looks, I mean, it was 2.5 years for me to do this game, and only now it's getting polished. It was released, I think, I think it was March or something, March or May. And when it was released, it was not as much going on as what you're playing right now, but one major update a month ago and another one coming. So it's just getting to the point where it's starting to get a little more polished. And
would you say the game's in early access?
Right now, it well, up till about a month ago, I guess. I mean, it really was early access, and then to see the major updates coming, you know, there's been lots of changes, so there's lots of people waiting for that already. Of course, mobile is really easy because everybody gets the auto updates. Steam, I mean, it's just as easy too, but yeah, no, for sure.
Like, so what's your background in terms of developing games? Like, is this the first one that you've ever done?
It is.
Okay, so where did so it's this game where you got all the coding and development experience on?
That is correct. Yeah. I dabbled with the coding for about 6 months before I started even the remnants of this game formed. And then, unfortunately, my grandma had passed away just with probably 6 months before this idea come up. And it wasn't because she passed away that the idea came up. It was just something that happened. That could have stemmed from that, but it would have been cool if at least one of my grandparents would have been able to see something like that. She would have thought it was quite something anyways.
I can suss out where some of the 2.5 years came from.
Yeah, well, I mean, we for a living, I mean, I install security cameras. I have my own company.
Right.
But we've also, between my wife and myself, we've built 5 full houses. So within that 2.5 years, I built 2 houses. So I can't sit here and say that it was 2.5 years of solid coding.
No.
There would be 6 months in there for sure that I wasn't even looking at any coding. And then the humble beginnings of this game are pretty great. I mean, it's nothing like it is now, not even close.
Well, what was the prototype like?
It's pretty bad. I mean, it's if you ever seen a picture or beginnings of it, it's so just basically a little guy running along. I mean, there's just everything's different. It doesn't even look like this, not even close. But I mean, you have to start somewhere, especially when you're coding right from scratch. So, and learning coding in that amount of time. So, I mean, I have no problem coding now, but it's the biggest part with games I find is the testing of it. I think I've played this game about 600 times. So, I mean, that's just I mean, you do get to the point where you think you'd be exhausted from it, but it's actually every time you play it and every time you make a change, it's exciting. The biggest thing with people playing this game is they don't know that those mosquitoes that are running after you are killing you. And there's what's called peppermint plants that you find along the way. And as soon as you touch one of them, you turn green, and it fends off those mosquitoes for a few seconds. And of course, every time those bats fly by you, they take a chunk out of you.
Is that based off of real world knowledge?
Yes. You're sitting on a creek bank hunting, waiting for a beaver to pop out of there at night or pop his head up, and you're just getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. And I mean, obviously, the squirrels aren't throwing acorns at you on the creek banks, but I had to get the squirrel to do something and be kind of a deadly little guy. So. And the ravens. I mean, right now, if you're playing it with the music in the background, you can hit the M button. There's 2 different music soundtracks, and if you hit the M button 3 times, it which I like the best because it stops all the music, and what you get is the ambient background noise. And it took me probably a month to get all the sounds proper. And the noise that you hear without the music playing is the exact sounds that you hear sitting on a creek bank.
Well, did you go out and record those, or are you using a sound library here?
Yeah, sound libraries.
About what I figured.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean that's what I like the most. It just brings back lots of memories and stuff like that. So, see, right now you can't do anything because I see there was only 2 dynamites collected. You do have to collect all the dynamites before you can blow that beaver down. Yeah, and hence that comes from the instructions, correct? But because of that, now the new version will prompt you. So just a few seconds into the game, as you walk along, it'll drop some little text on-screen prompts and tell you some little tips. It doesn't happen just about 10 or 15 seconds into the game, so they know right away what to do, what the premise of the game is, and then continue on. The new update that's coming along is I fixed a lot of different things, added more visual indicators. Right now, when you shoot something, you're not actually seeing, you're getting a score for it because your score goes up, but you're not actually seeing how many points you're getting for each of those enemies. So now there's going to be an added score indicator, visual indicator for each enemy. And then I've added some extra special effects. Levels 2 and 3 are dealing with rain and lightning now. Lightning is not in this version, but it's coming. It's all ready to go. I worked on that for quite a while, and very happy with the effects. Lightning and rain are in levels 2 and 3. And then as you go along the way, you're going to encounter snow eventually. And I did that because, so many times I'd be sitting on the creek bank, it's pouring rain. A lot of times you're going out in the winter, checking traps and everything like that, and it's snowing on you. So that's all that stuff come from that.
Are the snow levels going to be slippery?
Well, there's ice, and the ice is slippery. Yep. I had problems with accumulating too much snow because it really eats up CPU power. So you got to be really careful. I didn't realize till I started designing a game that even with as much power as our computers have now, and as much power as the processors are in our phones, they can't handle much. You really got to limit everything down to a basic scale and make sure you're deleting everything after it's being used. Otherwise, you got a real problem. So that was a learning experience. Yeah.
How many levels are in the game?
There's only 9 levels. And this game's been out since, like I said, March or May, June, July. Yeah, I'm pretty sure March, end of March. And nobody's made it to level 9.
The game seems to be a fair bit difficult.
Well, on the computer, I can breeze through it in about 25 minutes.
Uh-huh.
On a mobile phone, probably I can get through it in probably about 55 minutes. But my recent update, because of player feedback, they say the same thing. They say it's quite hard on the levels. I didn't lighten up the computer version too much, just because the mouse and keyboard are a lot easier than on-screen controls.
Mm-hmm.
So with the mobile, I have lightened it up quite a bit. So you can actually, so hopefully people can actually get through it. I haven't even had as many people reach the end of the game, the end of level 1, like I just seen you do there a few minutes ago. So I had to do something to lighten it up a little bit. Mobile is a little tougher, so.
Right. And are you still adjusting that difficulty balance?
I think I got it now. I just finished that last night. So the hit points on each enemy aren't quite as much. Like in this version here that is being played, it's 2 hits for like something as simple as a bat, but now it's down to 1. When you encounter the bears, I've lightened those up a bit. The higher up levels, you're going to see moose, you're going to see grizzly bears, you're going to see skunks. There's just a variety of extra little creatures along the way. And then extra things like the ice, the snow, rocks, stuff like that you have to encounter and go along. So it's, it's pretty cool.
And when do you expect that update to go live?
Update should probably be live. See, Steam is nice because Steam, I can put it up there and it's live within 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Mobile, not so much. The Google Play Store takes about, they actually blow my mind sometimes. You can put a game up there, your update up there, and it's 3 hours. But with Apple, their store, it's about 35 to 40 hours. My update should be ready in the next day or two, so I would suspect by the end of the weekend she'll be up and running.
Okay.
Live for everybody.
And are there more updates in the works after this one?
Well, because people can't even get to the end of the 9th level, I'm not sure. I can have plans for quite a few more levels. If people aren't reaching the end of the game anyways, I mean, if I added extra levels, they wouldn't even know about it. So bonus levels, or I've already thought of spin-offs of this game. So Hunting Pearl Creek right now, but what about Hunting Pearl Mountain? So I've got lots of little ideas like that.
Mm-hmm. I suppose that does beg a question. Exactly what's going on in this game? Why does all the wildlife want you dead?
Why does it want you dead?
Uh-huh.
Well, I mean, obviously it's a video game.
Right. But usually there's a storyline explaining why the various animals don't like you.
Yeah, I never really put a heck of a lot of thought into that part of it, I must admit. All I did was go with what you encounter on those creek banks, and of course with the bigger animals, the moose, the bears, the wolf stuff like that. I mean, they obviously are a danger to you, but why the little animals don't want you there? I mean, most of them are obviously aggressive, but I never tagged a storyline to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if people wouldn't like that or not, but
it might depend on the context.
Yeah.
Because this game is called Hunting Pearl Creek, and I definitely know people who would have problem with the whole hunting aspect.
Yeah.
Like that's definitely a thing that would separate this game from, well, a lot of platforming games, quite frankly. It's the rare platform protagonist that's going out hunting woodland creatures. So
Yeah, no, for sure.
But I suppose that's what we got here.
Yeah, no, it's kind of a shoot 'em up as well. Obviously not a first-person shooter,
No.
but based along the lines of a lot of the hunting games, I guess, out there. But of course, they're 3D. Big Buck Hunter and all those type of games.
Yeah, Cabela.
Yeah. You like Big Buck Hunter is one of the big ones up there, and I mean, you can get that on your phone and whatever have you, and you're out hunting and shooting moose and deers and bears and whatever have you. But in a little 2D platformer, I guess you probably wouldn't see it that often, maybe, because obviously it is. I mean, I skipped the whole Mario era. I mean, I'm a little older than that, so. I mean, I have a Nintendo sitting here, but it's nothing that I really played. I mean, I dabbled with Mario type games, so I mean, it's based 2D platformer is obviously, indicative of Mario and stuff like that. I mean, I've had some players say, "Holy, I really like this because it's I grew up with Mario, and this really reminds me of that," which is kind of cool.
Right. Anyway, so in terms of pricing, how did you arrive at the dollar amount that you did?
The $3.99 US
Yes.
dollar value. Well, when I go to post it on, not so much on, on Steam, I did some research on some of the other games out there. On mobile, they kind of give you a recommendation when I go to post it on the App Store. So it was pretty easy to do there, but because they recommended that price point at $3.99, I just kind of carried it over to Steam. I mean, you're thinking maybe that's a little too high for a game like that kind of thing.
No, it seems to be in line with what I would expect on screen.
Yeah, I wasn't sure because, like I said, because when you go to upload apps on the app stores, they do give you that recommendation, and then I just kind of ran with it and thought, well, at $3.99, I might as well just put it on Steam at $3.99, and then I looked at maybe 20 games on there, and I guess I've never really been so much for a lot of those type of games on there where there's so much stuff to read. I can't say that some of our grandkids don't play them, but they're reading, they're collecting coins, they're doing this, they're shuffling stuff around. I was trying to make it so they could just jump in the game and play right away. At one point, we have 7 grandkids, and at one point I actually had, and they range from 4 to 13, they were all playing that game on their mobile device at the same time, which was super cool to see. But yeah, the price point, that's kind of how I derived from that price point there.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think I've reached through all of my questions. I'll see if my colleagues here will have anything further for you.
I think
Sure.
I'm good.
I think I'm good.
Okay.
Answers in stereo. All right, then. So, Tim, I want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule and being with us here today to talk about your game.
Well, thank you so much. I do appreciate your time.
Indeed. That's good. That's good. Right. So the game is Hunting Pearl Creek. It's available now on Steam and itch.io and iOS and Android for $3.99. So be sure to pick it up today. Right. So Petty, play us to the next segment. All right, so welcome to the topic of discussion. So we promised to talk about this last week, but since the interview ran long there, we're doing it this week. So this time around, we're talking about the Call of Duty franchise. Mainly because it's an addendum.
One of those two big military shooter franchises that I can't tell apart, but it's the bigger one.
It's the biggest one. Battlefield, from what I understand, Battlefield was a rival for a while, but even that can't keep up to Call of Duty. It's certainly not sales-wise. But the reason we're talking about Call of Duty today is because, what we were talking about last time we had a topic of discussion, and that is the Microsoft Activision Blizzard King purchase, merger, transaction, however you want to frame it. And picking up from that conversation, a big sticking point, especially with the FTC, has been the handling of Call of Duty. The concerns over it going into Microsoft's clutches. That Microsoft might do with what you'd expect them to do. And I mentioned this in that conversation as well. Why Call of Duty? Why all of this hand-wringing over this specific property? Because it's certainly not the only ultra profitable series that Activision, Blizzard, and King have in their roster. But like Sony, well, I'm not sure if they could even raise a hand about Candy Crush, since as far as I know, that's mobile only. Even if,
I mean, technically it's on like Microsoft's like Windows Store, but like okay,
And yeah, but like I don't really have much more to say there, because
it's a thing that exists, but like, who in their right mind is playing Candy Crush on their PC?
Old people.
I guess valid.
I mean, that's who's playing. Well, that's one of the demographics playing Candy Crush. I also know it targets the very young. Just look at it.
Ooh, shiny colors, bright, bright flashy animations, loud noises. Yes, candy.
Like, and Blizzard, Diablo, Warcraft, StarCraft, Overwatch, what have you.
Well, less so Overwatch these days, but yes.
Yeah, I know. Like, I mean, Overwatch is doing so badly that Overwatch is coming to Steam.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
they really screwed the pooch on the handling of Overwatch 2, didn't they?
Yes, they did. I'm like, I don't think that's up for I don't think that's up for argument, because Blizzard themselves have stated the reason that Overwatch 2 is leading their push into Steam is because recurrent user engagement is down.
Because they royally fucked up.
Yes. I saw the Death of a Game episode.
Oh yeah, that was not unwarranted. Oh boy.
Yeah, once you make a sequel for very clearly stated reasons, and then say, actually, we're not doing those things,
and basically make the reason for the sequel to just not exist.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, but we're not talking about Overwatch here. We're talking about Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
that's one of those topics for another time.
Well, we've talked about Overwatch before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like. I'm sure Mac would have a lot to say about Overwatch 2, since he actually, plays the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, Kira 2, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Like,
I used to play Overwatch 1, but I'm never getting another Activision Blizzard again until Bobby Kotick's gone.
Well, I mean, that soon may be happening. Well,
I know,
soon is relative here.
Yeah.
Like, but anyway, so why Call of Duty? Why this particular franchise? And it's because it's the big money maker for Activision in particular. Like, Activision, if they renamed themselves Call of Duty Incorporated, they would not be far off the mark.
Yeah, basically.
Like, not entirely, because Activision still pumps out the occasional Crash Bandicoot game, of all things.
Yeah, though, looking how they handled that marketing-wise, oh god.
I mean, yeah.
Pretty much anything that's not Call of Duty gets royally shafted marketing-wise.
If it even gets greenlit.
Indeed.
Because, I think people like the Spyro trilogy, the Spyro Reignited,
mm-hmm.
that was released in 2019?
18, I think.
Like, yeah, it's far longer than you might think.
Mm-hmm.
And, even like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 was a few years ago at this point. And as it's been rumored that a new Spyro title is being worked on, but Tony Hawk is dead as far as we know.
September 3rd, 2019 is when...
No, he's still alive. Nobody ever recognizes him.
Yeah.
Ha 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 ha.
I mean, that is a thing that happens to him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, granted, he does have...
It's a joke because I was referring to the person and you meant the game. Or game franchise.
Well, also, we're not going to talk about Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5. Whoo, boy!
Well, that was
that was the one where they mailed a disc with a code to download the actual game, basically, and then lied about the fact that that's what it was.
I'm not sure, but that was the one that they had to do because the contract was ending.
It's the one that even if you have the disc, you can't download the rest of the game because the servers are shut off.
Yeah. Anyway, as much as I know we want to talk about anything other than Call of Duty,
I know
this is the topic that was chosen because once again it's kind of key to the Activision proceedings, even though at least in Sony's eyes. Let's be clear here. A lot of the pushback from the FTC has been taking Sony's stance on things, which
FTC
wasn't the
is
best
not supposed to do.
Yeah. Well, they paid for it by losing the court case, didn't they?
Yup.
But yeah, Sony was freaking out about losing Call of Duty because Call of Duty has been okay. They have a specific agreement with Activision called marketing rights. It's why you will see Call of Duty paired up with PlayStation ads. It's like play the latest Call of Duty on the PlayStation 5, that sort of deal.
Yeah. And back in the 360 era, Microsoft had that deal.
Yep. I'm kind of one of the defining things about that generation when I think about it.
Yep. I think my brother-in-law still has his Modern Warfare 3 360.
It wouldn't surprise me. And Sony has a special revenue split going on with Call of Duty right now, 80-20 instead of the usual 70-30. That will end. That's going until next year. That's when the current marketing arrangement it is scheduled for.
Right.
And yeah, it's after this is not going to be renewed.
Oh God, no.
It's even if the merger fails, I can't imagine that Activision is too pleased with Sony right now, because Activision wants this merger to happen.
Because a lot of money.
Yeah, about $70 billion.
Roughly there, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard differing dollar amounts, but it's a lot.
Right.
Far more than any other video game merger prior to this. And the reason that Sony is so protective of this is because Call of Duty is the best-selling first-person shooter franchise of all time.
This is one of those debatably things. We have actual hard numbers on this. It is insane.
Yeah, over 400 million units, and keep in mind we're just talking about sold here, because Call of Duty, like a lot of franchises, has gone free to play as well. With the what is it, Vagnard? or I'm trying. Like, look, there's a lot of Call of Duties here.
Yeah.
Like, so, and we don't regularly.
Even more than I thought there were.
Yeah. Like, I want to say it's Vanguard. That's the free-to-play one.
I thought it was Warzone. Let me look.
That's the one. That's the one. Warzone.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's genuinely hard for me to keep track of these games, especially as they go on. Because...
Yeah, Warzone is the free one.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Call of Duty is in a weird state because... How do I put this? It embraces, the new models and yet the old ones. Like, it's still, like, it's one of the only franchises I can think of that's still doing yearly installments.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though
Which
everything
has needed
else...
2 teams for a while now and is going to get very soon to the point where you need 3 because of how damn long it takes to make things.
Well, this is the reason why... Like every Activision studio out there is a Call of Duty studio, because, rising graphical fidelity, rising expectations, and Call of Duty is absolutely expected to be on the cutting edge here, and if nothing else, like, the money should be there, like. I don't think Call of Duty is going to get by having mid-tier level production values.
Right.
Yeah.
Because for a lot of people, Call of Duty and maybe 1 or 2 sports games is all they buy gaming-wise a year.
Yep. Like, maybe also the occasional Rockstar title, but we're talking a very select few here.
Yeah, there's a decently high percentage of gamers who only buy a Call of Duty and maybe a couple sports games. So if your Call of Duty game sucks, people are gonna be pissed.
Yeah, that's what happened to Infinite Warfare, from what I understand. Like, people did not like the direction of that particular title because, once again, if you're not familiar with the Call of Duty franchise, like I suspect a lot of people listening might be, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, that's the one where they went to space. I don't think I need to say more.
They tried to jump the shark. They did not jump the shark very well.
And they didn't even call it futuristic warfare.
No, they went with for Infinite Warfare, which, in the hands of smarter writers, would have been a statement on the idea of forever war. But no, it's just, we're going to take this shit to space and have Kevin Spacey in it.
Because reasons.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where, even given the trajectory of Call of Duty, this was entirely logical, but also, going to space, that's one of those things that when you happen, you're officially out of ideas.
It's literally on the list of, is this sequel, it's on, like, the jump the shark list for horror movie franchises and stuff.
And there are several horror movies that have gone to space.
Yeah, that wasn't just a random example. That was a very specific example.
Looking at you, Jason.
That's not even the most egregious example. No, I'm looking at fucking Leprechaun in space.
I'm sorry, what?
That is a thing that actually fucking happened. The Leprechaun franchise went to fucking space.
Oh, boy.
There's a reason why In Space is fucking mocked. and this is why. Granted, Call of Duty was getting ridiculous even beforehand, because not surprisingly, the Modern Warfare branch was a big fan of Michael Bay.
If you couldn't fucking tell.
Yeah, I mean, Modern Warfare was actually rather restrained. That went clear out the fucking window with Modern Warfare 2.
Mm-hmm.
Black Ops I know a lot less about, so I can't really comment on that fork. Though the majority of my Call of Duty experience comes from the World War II era, though not including Call of Duty World War II.
Yeah, the pre-Modern Warfare.
Yeah, back when the entire movement of first-person shooters was moving towards Normandy.
I see what you did there.
Am I wrong?
I hate you for it, but I see what you did there.
Like,
all the history buffs in the room are currently snickering right now.
I'm like, look, being witty is a gift and a burden.
Being witty and knowing far too much about history for your own good.
Look, I'm putting my college degree to work here.
I know.
Granted, it doesn't take much to know, the storming of Normandy Beach when it comes to World War II.
Oh, yeah.
And that has a lot to do with saving Private Ryan.
Indeed.
Because,
because everybody wanted to save Private Ryan back then.
Yeah. All of these games were drawing influence from Shaving Ryan's privates here.
God damn it, why did you have to make that one?
Because that's a very old joke that I heard on a Leno show once.
Good lord.
If I have to live with that knowledge, so do you.
I don't want to.
Anyway, but yeah, I remember playing Call of Duty. I actually did rather enjoy Call of Duty 2. Call of Duty World at War, I played about an hour of. Like, okay, this is way too much. This is way too Hollywood for my fucking tastes. Also, I do agree with Yahtzee on certain things, and the speed of FPS games from this era is definitely one of them. Like, sluggish.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was during the time when they were transitioning from World War II, because you can only fight in Stalingrad so many times, and credit to Call of Duty, they found they went to a lot of war fronts, because there's a lot of Call of Duty games set in the World War II era, far more than you might think, because it wasn't just like the 4 mainline Call of Duties. There was the hidden 5th one, and that's Call of Duty 2 Big Red One. That's the Call of Duty that they made for consoles instead of the PlayStation 2 era.
Ah.
Like, I guess also worth noting the brief splinter into the Vietnam War that these war simulators took,
which they did not stick on for long, because the Vietnam War is not fun for anyone.
No. Like, apparently Call of Duty was planning on there was going to be a Call of Duty Vietnam game, which is a third-person game? What?
Yeah, no, we don't talk about that one.
For optimal, seeing your character die after he falls into a pit and gets speared by bamboo stakes.
Well, it doesn't count because it never came out.
Yeah. Also, something napalm.
Yeah. Apparently, there was going to be a Call of Duty Roman Wars.
Okay, that might have been cool, depending on what they actually did. I would have considered looking at that, but...
Honestly, I think I've already played that. That was called Rise. The Y.
Yeah, though... I guess, though, that game was kind of garbage.
I mean, it was, but you can't tell me that wasn't Call of Duty, but with Romans.
Maybe. Hard to say.
You don't remember much about it, do you?
I tend to block that game out, yes.
Anyway, as much as we could jabber on about individual Call of Duty titles, the overarching point here is this game has sold a lot. To the lamentation of a lot of people, like a lot of it is a franchise that has a significant haterdom. Like, I'm not exactly sure what to call it. Like, there are, for various reasons. It's not just very, very angry boomer shooter fans.
Right.
Anyone who leans to the left isn't going to be particularly enjoying a Call of Duty game.
Mm-hmm.
Because, surprise, surprise, this tends to be a rather right-wing franchise. Maybe not intentionally so, but they're games that glorify war, whether they be like actual war or actual war settings. Like the Modern Warfare series, they're not based off of any actual conflicts, but they are about modern warfare, which is very fucking controversial.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that controversial because it's not like it's not taking place in, say, Iraq.
Yeah.
Or someplace in like the South Sudan.
I mean, at least not anymore. They did have a couple modern
conflict. Versus.
Adam, I think you're dropping out
anything
slightly.
that tries to do that is going to run into like even larger levels of controversy than, say, the Vietnam War. I'm looking at you, 6 Days in Fallujah. But like Call of Duty doesn't just stick with the Modern Warfare thing. It does Black Ops, which, that's going to be controversial too, given what Black Ops are.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's covert warfare, by the way.
Yeah, spoilers. They're black because you don't want people finding out about them.
Mm-hmm. And it's not like the United States doesn't have a long history of engaging in Black Ops affairs.
But all three of us looks at camera.
Mm-hmm. Or would if we had the face cam going.
Yeah.
But clearly that number is a not even a loud minority. Because the people who don't like that stuff, they don't single out Call of Duty. They single out modern military shooters. Even though the modern military shooter, that is definitely more of a thing back in the Xbox 360 era than today. Thank God for that. We don't have every fucking FPS trying to be the next Call of Duty.
Indeed.
In one way or another. And not just like first person shooters, but third person shooters. Well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I think that'll about do it for this installment of Fragments of Silicon. So, coming up on the week ahead, let's see, we got a new episode of MSP happening in about 10-ish minutes. So
Something
we
like
got to
that,
get getting to the wrapping up here. On Friday, July 28th, we'll be having Kusala Kos Uba Yase Kara of Works Games. We'll be talking about Katana Ra, Shinobi Legions, which we reviewed recently. And on the Sunday reviews, we'll be having reviews of Flow City, Hunting Pearl Creek, Dark Chess, and impressions of Vampire Hunters. So, until then, I shall wish you good gaming.